Hi guys, so in this video I wanted to touch on talking about my Quentin Tarantino movie collection. These are just the standalone theatrical and released movies directed by Tarantino that I've got in the collection. These You aren't going to see any of the collaborative works as a director like Sin City or anything like that, Four Rooms in here. These are just the standalone movies that I've got in my collection directed by Tarantino, the theatrical released ones. So yeah, that being said, going to kick it off with the first one I've got, and that is Reservoir Dogs. I absolutely love and adore this film. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Really, really good starting point if you ever want to get into Tarantino's work as a director. I think this is really, really the first step to take, and it is a wonderful, well-written film. Great heist movie with lots of trust and mistrust along the way. About this team that have been put together who don't know anything about each other, and they have to work together, and the twists and turns along the way are absolutely great. You know, people revealing who they aren't really meant to be. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. The cast in this is phenomenal as well. You got Harvey Keitel, Steve Buscemi, Tim Roth. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. Love it. Yeah, really, really well written film. Fantastic dialogue, just absolutely wonderful. Great sequence in this as well, with Mr. Blonde and this cop. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it. But it is a fantastic sequence that I absolutely love. So yeah, that is Reservoir Dogs. Great starting point. Fantastic movie. Really, really enjoyable. Lots of great dialogue and a lot of violence in it as well. And it's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, that is Reservoir Dogs. Next up, we've got my hands down my favourite Tarantino movie, and that is Pulp Fiction. John Travolta, Sam Jackson, Uma Thurman. I absolutely love and adore this film. I think everything good about this movie that has been said has been said. I just want to get into one tiny gripe I have about this movie. There is a sequence in this with Bruce Willis and taxi driver Esmeralda, I think. For me, that scene could be taken out of the movie and it has no difference whatsoever. I find the movie grinds to a halt at that sequence. I find it incredibly boring. I just don't like it whatsoever. If that scene was removed from the movie, this movie would be a 10 out of 10 for me, absolute perfection. But I just cannot stand that sequence. It really, really bothers me when I watch it. I just don't know what it is. I don't sit well with that sequence. But the rest of the film, I think, is perfection. I absolutely love it. I think it is absolutely fantastic. I think it's his best movie that he's ever made. It is just absolutely wonderful. Apart from that one sequence, the movie just rolls and rolls and rolls with, one entertaining sequence after the next. It's just absolutely fantastic. The scenes from the restaurant to the scene, with Zed. I'm not going to say any more. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. The whole sequence as well with Christopher Walken giving the young Bruce Willis the watch. That story was riveting, fantastic. I just absolutely enjoy it. And of course, this movie breaks the sort of the lineage storytelling of the 3-act structure. Tarantino places them wherever the hell he wants, and it still holds up. You have to watch the movie from start to finish to get the full picture. And it's absolutely brilliant. I love it for that, being so creative in that way. And yeah, I can't praise this movie enough. It's one of my favourites. I think it's fantastic. Everything that has, good to be said about this movie, I think has been said. I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful film. And yeah, it's my favourite from his body of work, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, that is Pulp Fiction. Next up, we've got Jackie Brown. For me, this is one of the weaker ones for me. I don't hate this movie by any means at all. I don't hate any of Tarantino's movies. I actually find all of them very, very enjoyable, very entertaining. I just find some better than others. This being one of the weaker ones in my opinion. But as I said, it doesn't mean it's bad. I think this has got a phenomenal cast with Pam Grier, Robert De Niro, Sam Jackson, Michael Keaton as well has a small role in this, who I absolutely love. I just find it, it's a crime movie, but it was just a bit underwhelming coming off the heels of Pulp Fiction, I find. But on its own merit, I do think it is still a good, solid movie that I really, really enjoy from time to time. But as I said, it's not one I go back to a lot. But yeah, I do find it really, really... It's a fun film. But yeah, as I said, it just pales for me compared to the first two of his movies. But I still think it is a good, solid film. So yeah, that is Jackie Brown. Next up, I'm going to bring the two of these in, because I do class these as one movie. And it is Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2. So for me, if I was to decide between the two, I don't think I really could. I think both of these movies provide, two halves to one story. I would never ever watch one of these movies without the other. It is just one big, long, continuous movie for me. Really, really entertaining. Uma Thurman, Beatrice Kiddo, the bride seeking revenge, against her former assassin teammates, who absolutely decimated her wedding. It was absolutely fantastic the way this was executed. In my opinion, each revenge was riveting and fantastic to watch. The Crazy 88 sequence in part 1, absolutely fantastic. Really, really massively entertaining and enjoyable sequence to watch. And for me, the standout from Kill Bill Volume 2 was the scene with Bill talking about Superman. Just absolutely fantastic, and I was just hooked and riveted to David Carradine's performance. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, for me, these are two movies that I will always watch back to back, and they just have a fantastic impact on me, and I really, really enjoy watching these two films. Really, really entertaining. I sort of see these two films as like the Beatles' White Album. It has a very sort of good double impact. It's really fantastic stuff. So yeah, absolutely love the Kill Bill films. Give them a watch if you've not seen them. I think you'll be massively entertained. And let me know your thoughts about them down below in the comments. So yeah, those are the Kill Bill movies. Next up, we've got Death Proof. For me, and with a lot of people I've talked to, this always comes in at the lower end. It's always, I think it comes in as, it has a bit of a reputation of being Tarantino's worst film. I can understand that. I can see that, yeah. I have a sort of love-hate relationship with this film. I like parts of it. There are parts of it I don't like. Overall, it's not one I come back to a lot. I probably prefer Jackie Brown over this one, if I'm honest. But I do like Kurt Russell in this film. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Stuntman Mike. And the sort of the second half of this movie, I think is absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely love it. The stunt chase sequences are just absolutely fantastic. Maybe it's another one I know I sort of need to give a rewatch to. I've only seen this movie twice. But from what I did see, I remembered it being strange and enjoyable, but I just couldn't get into it the way I wanted to, if that makes sense. As I said, maybe I need to give it another rewatch, but Death Proof, for what it is, I remember it being good. Like, I remember that sequence where he's taking that girl home and he's like, which way you going? And she says this way, and he's like, well, you're going to have to start getting scared a lot sooner. And it was just absolutely, fantastic and scary as fuck. Great to see that sort of intimidating performance from Kurt Russell as well. I love the guy. Anything he's in, I'm there to watch. I think he's brilliant, particularly his work with Carpenter. But yeah, I think it's a good film. Like, as I say, I don't think any of the Tarantino films are bad. I just think some are weaker than others. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Death Proof. I think it's good for what it is, really. So yeah, coming up next, we've got Inglorious Bastards. I'd heard a lot of good things about this film when it was released. I hadn't seen it initially at first. I picked up the Blu-ray on a deal from HMV, and I sat down and gave the movie a watch. The opening sequence to this, Christoph Waltz, immense, absolutely flawless bit of filmmaking, in my opinion. You know, from everything down to the suspense to the acting is absolutely wonderful. And it obviously sort of follows this World War II storyline that goes on, and it leads to this big climax, which of course was fictional and didn't happen, but Tarantino just executes it so well that you actually believe what's going on. And it's just absolutely wonderful. Great Brad Pitt movie as well. I think he's absolutely stellar in this film. Yeah, just absolutely wonderful. But Christoph Waltz, I think, plays an absolutely fantastic villain. Christoph Waltz, for me, is one of those actors who I think Tarantino knows how to utilise to get the best out of him. Because, Christoph Waltz, if I'm honest, hasn't really impressed me outside of any of the work he's done with Tarantino. He's really impressed me with this and particularly the next film as well. But yeah, I enjoyed this film. I thought it was great, and it just had some riveting sequences in it as well. Just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, love this film. Think it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's Inglorious Bastards. Next up, we've got Django Unchained. Got a bit of a personal story behind this one. Django Unchained was one of the first movies that I saw where I went to the cinema to see two movies back to back. I saw this, and before seeing this, I watched Wreck-It Ralph on the same day, and it was absolutely brilliant. Really, really good two films to watch back to back. And yeah, I had an absolute blast with that. And this film really, really surprised me. I was really, really impressed with it. Absolutely loved it. You know, Jamie Foxx, DiCaprio, Christoph Waltz, absolutely fantastic. Really, really loved this sort of partnership that Christoph Waltz and Jamie Foxx form as these two bounty hunters. It was absolutely brilliant, and found out a bit more of a backstory behind Django and his wife, who's currently being kept at Candyland with Calvin Candy, played by DiCaprio, and it led to an absolute phenomenal dinner table sequence, which then led on to an absolutely fantastic, all-outright violent gun showdown, which was absolutely brilliant. And I can't praise this movie enough. It's one of my favourite ones of his from recent times, and I absolutely loved it. It was just, yeah, it was mesmerising. My eyes were glued to the screen when watching this film, and it's absolutely brilliant. So if you've not seen Django Unchained, do yourself a favour and check it out. I don't think you'll have a bad time with it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, fantastic film. Coming up next, we've got The Hateful Eight. Phenomenal cast in this. You know, too many names to mention, in my opinion. Really, really underrated Tarantino film, in my opinion. I do think this is one of his most underrated. I sat down to watch it, and as the movie went on, I was like, okay, where's this going? What's sort of really happening? What's the point of this? And then eventually, when that second act kicks in, I think things become a bit more clear as to what the movie's trying to say and what it's trying to do. It's a good movie about paranoia as well. You know, not everyone is as they seem. And you're trying to suss out who's the truth tellers, you know, what's going on. And it led to, again, another fantastic final climax, shall I say. The performance in this, particularly by Jennifer Jason Leigh, was absolutely phenomenal. The bargaining sequence towards the end, I just thought she was absolutely phenomenal, and was completely fueled by Tarantino's dialogue. It was just like, wow, this guy knows how to write, you know, entertaining dialogue. It's phenomenal. Really, really dug that end sequence. Just was absolutely blown away by it. And the twists and turns along the way in this movie, I really, really enjoyed. Like I say, the cast, too many to name, but it was just absolutely brilliant, and I was riveted by it as well, with its twists and turns. And Tarantino gets the humour right as well, just absolutely fantastic. You know, like the scene with Django Unchained, like, you know, the with the KKK, with the sacks, and you know, they're not made properly. It was just hysterical. This as well provided some great humour, which I absolutely enjoyed, and just thought it was, you know, it delivers on the violence as well. So yeah, if you've not seen The Hateful Eight, check it out. It's brilliant in my opinion. Really, really enjoyed it. So his most recent film now that I've got is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, when this movie got announced, I was sort of blown away by the cast, you know. DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, who I absolutely love from The Wolf of Wall Street. And you've got Brad Pitt in there as well. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what this movie was going to be about. I went into it completely blind, but I still had sort of expectations about it. You know, I was just wondering, what's this movie going to be about? Where's it going to go? And the finished product for me was completely a 180 of what I thought it was going to be, but I still absolutely loved the film. I think it is great. I do think it is sort of Tarantino's love letter to Hollywood in the 60s, which is absolutely fantastic. I didn't know about Sharon Tate and the Manson family. I had to sort of read up on that, and it was just absolutely a horrific read to find out what went on. But yeah, the movie doesn't go down that route though. As I think the title suggests, Once Upon a Time sounds like more of a fairy tale, and it takes more of a page out of Inglorious Bastards with creating this sort of fictitious but still riveting ending, inspired by true events. But I absolutely still really, really dug this movie and had a really, really good time with it. The scene where Brad Pitt is at the Manson farm and he's looking to meet up with Bruce Dern was, you know, really, really some tense stuff, with Dakota Fanning as well. Really, really was unsettling to watch, but quite surprised with its payoff. I really, really, just really, really dug this movie. I mean, the cover to this Blu-ray as well, I just really, really enjoy it. The colours on it just absolutely pop. And I do think it is a fantastic little movie that I really, really enjoyed. You know, the end sequence to me was brilliant to watch. I couldn't take my eyes away from it. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, those are the movies I've got in my collection, directed by Tarantino. So yeah, I do think he is a great director, and I do think, you know, he is very fresh, particularly when it comes to his dialogue. It's just, it really, really is an impactful writer, in my opinion. And I just look forward, you know, whenever a movie comes out by him. I'm always there with my support, and I just really, really love his stuff. So yeah, I'll leave the video there, and I'll just say thanks very much for watching. Let me know some of your favourite Tarantino movies down below in the comments, and I'll get back to everyone that drops in a message. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there and say thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.